Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm here at Peirce College today with Robb Pardee, the speaker for our LinkedIn seminar. Welcome, Robb. It's a pleasure to have you here
Hi,
today.
Lauren. Thanks. It's great to be here.
We're so excited to have you here for this workshop, and I think the first thing we wanted to do to introduce you to everybody was just find out a little bit about your path to what brought you here today and how you ended up a LinkedIn expert.
Okay, that's a great question. My background is in counseling. I've done a lot of career counseling, and I'm a certified coach with the International Coach Federation. But my LinkedIn journey kind of started, oddly enough, with LinkedIn. I wrote a blog post for them back in May of 2009 they were doing a promotion for recent graduates who were finishing up college at that point in 2009, and they asked me to write a guest blog post around managing the transition from college back to home to career search, and that kind of got me thinking that there was really a lot of leverage to LinkedIn, and especially for a career development kind of opportunity, helping people to find jobs and look for opportunities. And so I've been speaking about it and coaching people around it for the last couple of years now.
So, why is LinkedIn so important to career success, especially today, in the way people find jobs?
It's a great question. Social media has kind of exploded. Everybody's aware of Facebook and Twitter and all these things. LinkedIn has kind of made this kind of covert approach of becoming the professional networking site, and they really have specialized in that. And it's exploded. It's become one of the predominant recruiting tools of the Fortune 500, for example. 82% of the Fortune 500 are using LinkedIn to recruit. So there's kind of this massive groundswell of energy around people using it as a recruiting tool. So what better way to get out there, promote yourself, make yourself available to companies that are actually looking for people to hire?
Definitely. That's a huge amount of companies that use it. So what would you say to people, maybe a nurse or a doctor or someone who works in, veterinary sciences? What would you say to people that don't think LinkedIn has anything to do with them and their careers?
I would challenge it. There is an incredible diversity of subgroups out there in LinkedIn, little populations of people in a particular niche that have gotten on there and created a community and are interacting with each other. So it's really growing. And, I just the other day, someone was asking me about heating and ventilation and air conditioning estimators. And I'm like, well, there can't be that many. It's kind of a construction-related thing. So I went out there in the Philadelphia area, found 2,000 people with that in their background.
Just in Philadelphia.
Just in the Philadelphia kind of metro region. So things that you might think are obscure or, oh, that's not going to be out there. Surprisingly enough, there's lots of communities like that out there.
That's a great point. So today we have these two sessions that we're going to be running to talk to people who are interested in how to use LinkedIn to leverage their career. What can you give us 3 to 5, or it could be 1, whatever your top tips are for what you want people to take away from the seminars today?
Yeah, there's kind of a couple things. And one of the things that I recommend, and LinkedIn recommends actually, is the photograph. People are always hesitant I don't want to put a picture up there. I feel uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. But to have a 100% complete profile, you actually have to have a picture out there. So you've got to have a headshot. I recommend, a professional style headshot, just kind of, your face and in business attire, not your vacation photos. So go ahead and put that headshot out there because it makes you more recognizable. It's part of the formula, basically, to make it work. Other thing is to customize your URL. Your LinkedIn profile, it's a web page. It's got a web address like any other web page. And you can actually go in and tweak that and customize it. So it's linkedin.com/Robb Pardee.
I did that to mine.
That's great. That's an important step because when somebody Googles your name, one of the first things that comes up is your LinkedIn profile if you've done that step.
Yeah, we had an HR panel recently here, and that was a question that came up. Someone asked, how can I make sure that if I have the same name as someone else, how can I make sure that people know it's me when they're looking me up, when the employers are? And they gave the same advice. Put your picture there, make it a professional picture. It'll go a long way.
Definitely. Make it unique. It's a way to highlight your personal brand, what value you add. And so you want to personalize it as much as possible.
Definitely. Let's see. What else do I want to ask you? Oh, well, so when attendees leave today, what's the first thing that they should do with all the knowledge that they take away? Is there kind of one action item that you would recommend they go home and take care of right away, besides the picture?
That's a good question. One of the things they're going to take away today is a checklist, kind of some reminders where they go back, they get to their office, or they get to their computer, they can kind of go through and tick off some of these things to say, these are the steps that I need to take. I think one of the biggest things is to actually reach out and start cultivating your network. They say that about 70% of profiles on LinkedIn are 50 connections or less. that really doesn't generate a lot of buzz or a lot of groundswell. So I would say commit to growing your network, expanding it. People that you know that you haven't reached out to yet, go ahead and reach out to them, make connections, and grow your network. That's going to be one of the biggest leveraging points.
Maybe people that they meet here today.
Right. They may make some connections today. They might, if they're a student, they might have faculty, other students, all kinds of creative connections.
Definitely. Can you give us some examples or maybe just an overarching theme of what the biggest mistakes are that you see on LinkedIn profile pages?
I think one of the biggest things that I find that's kind of annoying or frustrating is people that get very kind of salesy. They're trying to sell you something. It's kind of the old cliche of the used car salesman.
Yeah.
It's like, and not really being genuine or authentic. I think one of the biggest things about LinkedIn is to be authentic, be honest and upfront, and don't go for that kind of sales pitchy. Just talk about your experience, talk about what value you add, but don't kind of oversell. Don't become a spammer. There are LinkedIn spammers, people that just pump out useless information. You don't want to do that. That would be a mistake to avoid.
Yeah, fine line to walk, but very important to walk it.
Yes.
One common question that I know students ask a lot is, how do you reach out to someone that you don't really know? Maybe it's someone, a friend of a friend. Maybe it's someone, an influencer in your industry who you've never met before.
Right.
What kind of advice do you have for that?
There's two tools built into LinkedIn for that. One is the introduction. You can actually ask people in your network to do an introduction for you.
Okay.
If you see that they're connected to somebody that you want to meet, they can go ahead and pass along a message that says, hey, I'd like to introduce you to Robb Pardee, my friend here, and make a connection for you. That's great for second-degree connections. Third-degree connections, which I'll talk more about in the talk, but are a little bit farther removed. So the introduction doesn't work great for them. But you can use something called an in-mail, which is, it's a paid message. It is something you have to pay for on LinkedIn, but it has a very high success rate. And LinkedIn will actually give you your money back if you don't get a response. So if you send an in-mail message to someone you don't know, let's say it's a manager at a company that you're targeting that you'd like to work at, and you just want to reach out and do an informational interview. Hey, I'd like to find out about your company. And you send them an in-mail. If you don't get a response, LinkedIn will kick back the money that you paid.
That's interesting.
For that.
I never had heard of that one before. It's great.
And it
advice.
has, the statistics are like 80% response rate on it. It's really high.
Wow.
So it's kind of even better than casual emails if you happen to stumble upon that person's email somewhere.
Probably makes that person know that it was a thoughtful approach. It wasn't just, I'm going to like or friend everybody that I see.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to what you're going to talk about today or what you want people to take away from the seminar?
I think I would go back to that growing your network thing, to do the work. It doesn't take a lot of work necessarily, but to put in kind of your 15 minutes a day, if you will, to actually cultivate the relationships, send out updates, make new connections, kind of invest that time. Don't just kind of go create a profile and then walk away and expect, oh, I've never gotten anything from LinkedIn. You got to kind of invest the time. You've got to cultivate it and do the work to make it grow. And if you do that, I think you can really reap some rewards.
Oh, that's all fantastic advice. And I know we're really excited to have Robb here at Peirce today. So thank you again for joining us and looking forward to hearing all your wisdom on LinkedIn and social networking and everything that can do for your career.
Yeah, great.